fly we're going to tie you today is called the anti-static chironomid. It's a pattern that Dwayne Dandrea developed for the early season fishing on the Columbia. And not only does it work well then, it works really good on our local lakes. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we're going to use a size 14 swimming Nymph hook, some 8/0 black thread to tie with, a 1/8 black bead for the bead, some anti-static bag for the body, some fine copper wire for the rib, some white antron for the gills, and some Peacock Herl for the thorax. To start the fly off, I've already tied on my thread, and I'm going to take some white antron and tie it in for the gills right above the eyelet. So put it in, make it about, I'll say 1/8 of an inch long, wrap it in right by the eyelet, and cut off your excess. So as you can see on the tie, I've actually tied in my gills, taken my bead, and the wide end of the bead I've put on the hook and moved the wide end towards the eyelet to cover up the gills. So now I have the bead on the hook, covering up the gills on the top, and I've retied in my thread. Now what we're going to do is take our anti-static bag and tie it in for the body. So we'll move our thread back to the bend of the hook and tie in our anti-static bag. The anti-static bag is tied in. Now we're going to take some copper wire and again tie it in, and this will be used to rib over the body once it's created. So tie it in right to the base. Now we have the bag in place and the ribbing in place. We're going to take our anti-static bag and rib it forward, again keeping the body nice and thin. Chironomids and midges have small, thin bodies. And just wrap it forward until we get up to the bead. The body's all tied in, so take your copper wire that we have sitting off the back of the hook and make about 5 to 6 ribs up the fly, right up to the bead. To finish the fly off, we want to cover up the thread that we've used to tie in all our body materials. We're going to take some Peacock Herl, tie it in right behind the bead, and take about 5 or 6 wraps and form a nice thorax on the fly. And there's the last step. Just done a quick whip finish on the fly. Now the one thing I mentioned before in the intro is this fly is especially good in the Columbia River in early season when the fish are feeding on midges, and it also does work very well in our local lakes. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one shown, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.